This video is made for adult collectors because...
Greetings, Orion Pax, Optimus Prime.
Alright, you are coming down from here. Now fight. He did this. I wasn't expecting him to do the splits. Bro's just showing off. Transformers 1's toy line is now in full swing with the movie releasing in September, and in Canada so far, this and Alpha Trion are the only mainline toys to release, at least at the time of me writing this. And this Prime has a lot of people scratching their heads as to which to get, this or the Studio Series. This is Prime Changer's Optimus Prime, akin to those mainline deluxes we got for Rise of the Beast, but also like upgraded warriors, quote unquote. Basically like an Earthspark Deluxe. This dude costs $20 US in most places, whereas the Studio Series one costs $25 US in most places. So should you buy this or spend the extra $5 to get the Studio Series? Well, it really isn't as simple of an answer. Both of these have their strengths and their weaknesses and both feel worth their price. But yeah, I have done a video on the Studio Series one, which you should check out because this is very different from that toy. For starters, it's smaller, but a bit more robust. My Studio Series 1 has loose joints I haven't fixed yet because I couldn't be bothered. And there are some build quality bits I don't quite like, such as the hip skirt and the alt mode weapon storage, which for the remainder of the video is going to stay on the Optimus Prime shelf. This dude is smaller, but built better. Everything tabs together so much nicer and stays on. Nothing is loose out of the box. It feels like a cohesive, posable thing. The plastic on the mainline / core line one, whatever, feels a tiny bit better in some areas. It just feels a little bit more robust, but this one is meant to be thrown at a wall more so than the Studio Series one, as this one's targeted for a much younger audience, says the 26-year-old who bought it. But hey, the silver and gray, it isn't accurate, but I think I prefer it here. The Studio Series one looks like it's been in a room with a smoker for a bit. Like, it's not terrible by any means, it's accurate after all, but it's an accuracy I think I would have been okay with if they omitted it. Though the thighs being silver and nothing else seems to make them stick out a bit more, which is weird. I'm also a big fan of the chest. It feels a bit more segmented, and I like the Allspark blue chest window. The smokestacks though, they are 5mm pegs, but they feel a bit shallow, so they can come off if you like rotate them a little easier than I would like. And then the head. The head is really squished, and it's a bit small for the body. The actual sculpt is nice, but the flat nature of the mouth guard and the short ears kind of gives it a very Unicron Trilogy / old classics head feel, not TF1 Optimus head. His weapon is an axe, but it also has a hand molded into it, which is very cool. And mine has like a massive paint splotch on the side. I could fix that. And this entire thing is painted in Allspark blue. There is also a matrix which comes out of the chest in a very unique way by folding and then unfolding the chest even more to get the matrix free, and then pegging it into the hands, and you can actually hold it. Yay! Just like the Studio Series one, but they just get there differently. And his posing's okay. He can't do a lot of the stuff the Studio Series could do, but he can still do quite a bit. So his articulation is not up to snuff with the Studio Series in one aspect. Everything else, well, two. Everything else is pretty much bang on. So to start with, you have a head which is on a ball joint. There's no tilt, but it can rotate. It's a bit stiff, and it can look up and down. It doesn't fall into the torso because of how this transforms differently from the Studio Series, which does fold into the torso a little bit. I've also pushed the up. So the head, ball joint, shoulders, ball joint and hinge. Now they are trigger happy hot rod shoulders, but they work a bit differently. So they rotate here and they go in and out here, and then you have that extra bit that goes up, and it doesn't impact the head at all, which is very nice. Now Bolt Matrix did tell me that his ball joints like to pop off super easy. Mine take a little bit of force, so I don't know, that might be your mileage may vary. I'm not ripping that off. That might be your mileage may vary thing, but yeah, mine don't pop off. You also have bicep rotation, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, no wrist articulation, which the Deluxe has. You have waist rotation, so you can do that. You have ball jointed hips that go forward, back, in and out. There we go. Oops. You have above the knee swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the unfocused knee. There we go. And no ankle tilt.
That's my biggest issue, is I wish there was ankle tilt. Given how all of this opens up to encompass the legs, I don't see how they could have fit a cut in the middle there, unless they just, focus, idiot, unless they made the front of the foot pivot and the back of the foot not. But yeah, it doesn't pivot. I kind of wish it did. It's a little bit of a shame, but oh well.
So as robots go, I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards the mainline one a bit more in the way it feels. It needs ankle tilts, but besides that, it's pretty fun. Whereas the Studio Series, I think, looks a little bit better on display. But let's do trucks.
Now his transformation is entirely different from this dude, and I like that. They don't share a thing. Granted, I do wish this transformation was on this toy. This toy, But yeah, the transformation's very different. So to start with, well, before I go into anything, the torso has to be done in a very specific order of operations, and I always forget the very specific order of operations. So if I get it wrong, oops. So start with, you fold in the hands, then you're going to rotate the arms 180 degrees. I don't know why I said it like that. And then fold the smokestacks in. That almost fell out. And then fold the head up. Now you want to open up the chest. Bring this grill section out. And then take the arms and shift them down on these double hinges. Kind of reminds me of Rise of the Beast Scorponok a little bit, the way that works. But once you get that done, you want to fold this up. Not all the way, because it won't go in all the way. Fold it up like that. Rotate this 180 degrees. Leave it. Now you want to take the torso and bring it back. Now you can push this in a little bit more. Bring these sections down. I pulled that off. They can just fold in. They'll clip into place. It's very softly clip into place. Then you bring the arms back. Bring this in. And that will just sit there. And now you can bring that in all the way. And then we are going to bring the arms up. Like that at the elbow. Bring these up and peg these in. And then bring that up and peg that in to the back of the truck. Now we're going to do the legs. So we're going to take the axe first and peg it into the 5mm peg on his butt. So get that into place. Then we're going to bring that up and rotate this 180 degrees, and it will clip in to the leg. Close that up, and that will just fit over the axe and tab into the arm. So do the same on this side. Bring that around, clip it in, close it up. Get it all pegged into place. And that is the truck mode. You can rotate these forward if you want them forward, but I like them back. That is the truck mode. It's a lot more cohesive than the Studio Series, which felt like bits were about to come off. So I like this a little bit more. Granted, the order of operations here is really chunky and weird. And like this top roof section here, if done incorrectly, I can't get it off now because it's not going to come off now. But when it's like this, if done incorrectly, due to the way this peg is shaped, this will come off. So you have to do it in the correct order of operations, otherwise that'll fall off.
Man, that is a lot smaller than the Studio Series, but it is cheaper, so there is that. It's definitely more well built. The arms hide, there's no alt mode gaps, the cannons sit further back, which I like, but they can still rotate and then fall out because of the shallow pegs. They don't actually fall out on their own. It's only when you rotate them they like to come out, so that's fine. It hides the wheels just as good as the Studio Series, and while the feet are hidden, the knee pads do stick out of the back, so like both of the backs of the trucks are messy. But the arms, that's the biggest thing. They hide away. There's no fists hanging out of the side. They tuck into the back, tab into the cab of the truck. It does mean the cab is shorter than it should be, but like the arms hide away. The alt modes and transformation really feel kind of backwards to me. Like the Studio Series one feels like a mainline transformation, whereas the mainline one feels like some things Studio Series would do. They're definitely strange to hold together and mess with. I will say though, the Studio Series one for me kind of feels a bit better in hand as a truck, even if the mainline one's a bit more solid. It's got that presence when you hold it. But which is going on my Optimus Prime shelf? Which one is going to stay on the shelf where I keep all the primes I think look cool? Well, I think the Studio Series one is still gonna go on my Optimus shelf because it looks and poses the best, but the mainline one by no means is a slouch. Should you spend the extra though? I mean, for an extra $5, you get more accurate, better articulated figure that comes with more stuff, has more paint, and is bigger. That's a lot of extra stuff for $5. But if you save the $5, you can get something that feels a lot more solid. I think if you put scale aside, the mainline one is slightly more robust and better to mess with, whereas the Studio Series one is a better display option if that's all you want. But let me know which one you prefer, I am curious. But that's my look at I almost said Rise of the Beast. Transformers 1, Prime Changers Optimus. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.